Well, it is just about 8 o'clock, rather, here in New York City. I'm Anne-Marie Green. In just a few hours, a House committee will question former special counsel Robert Hur about his controversial report on President Biden's handling of classified documents. And new this morning, CBS News reviewed a full transcript of the president's 2023 interviews with investigators. Scott MacFarlane is following all of this from Capitol Hill for us. So, Scott, I imagine, because this only came out about a half hour ago, you zeroed in on the portions of the transcripts where the president's memory is called into question about when his son died, about how the classified documents ended up at his house. What stood out to you? Because I imagine that is what lawmakers are going to be questioning her about today.
Yeah, Anne-Marie, so much of this hearing today, this marathon, 4 to 5 hour long hearing today, is going to focus on the special counsel's characterization of the president's age and memory. That's been something that's been the focus of conversation ever since this report was released in February. According to our advanced read of Robert Hur's testimony and our review of the documents, it indicates Robert Hur is going to argue that he was trying to figure out the president's intent in having records at his D.C. office and Delaware home, and that makes his mindset, his memory, relevant. In fact, what Robert Hur is going to say today is that he needs to show his work and explain why he made the decisions he made. President Biden, in a press conference last month, made the argument that some of this was the work of his staff, the movement and placement of records. According to our read of this report, President Biden made that same argument to Robert Hur in October during his interview, saying in so many words, "I didn't pay any attention to how they packed it up," in reference to those records. But what Robert Hur is going to argue today is that there is a contrast between President Biden's case and former President Trump's case. President Biden agreed to an interview, consented to a search, and cooperated with the investigation. Robert Hur will say Donald Trump allegedly did not, that he had a much different scenario in which he's accused of obstructing the investigation. That contrast, Anne-Marie, is going to be a fundamental point for Democrats today as they respond and question the former special counsel.
So I'm curious about what you've been hearing from lawmakers. Of course, President Biden and his supporters were really quick to criticize Hur's characterization of the president's memory, particularly around the death of his son, which was a very emotional time for the president. What are you hearing from lawmakers about this?
Yeah, the date of the president's son's passing was some part of this questioning in October, as Robert Hur tried to press President Biden on the date, or at least raise the question about the date. And according to our read of the records, President Biden knew the month, knew the day, May 30th, but needed some help at a moment gathering the year, 2015. Memory is such a distinctive part of what Robert Hur has put out there already, and most certainly will be a focus of Republicans today. We spoke with Republicans as they arrived at the Capitol ahead of this hearing. Take a listen to some of them.
From the physician's standpoint, he made some very interesting comments about the competency of the president. And, you know, we've been after those guys to release the cognitive tests, and they haven't. So obviously that's a concern, and I'm sure they'll ask questions about why.
I think the American people should all be watching that hearing, judiciary, because we'll truly find out what Mr. Hur feels about Mr. Biden. And, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Democrats are spoiling for an argument about this, saying President Biden has put to bed any concerns about his memory and age with the State of the Union address he gave Thursday night. And Anne-Marie, they are most certainly going to push back on these characterizations, not just from Robert Hur, but from Republicans on the other side of the room.
Yeah, it should be an interesting hearing. Scott, thank you very much.